Betty Shaw's daughter Liz was nearly killed in a distracted driving crash when she was 17 years old. Liz has had a long and difficult journey to recovery over the past 4 years, but Liz and her mother have used their experience to teach others. Their message, especially to teen drivers, is that no text is worth the risk. Before Betty comes up to the podium, we'd like to share a really powerful video from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration that was produced with Betty and Liz, that's part of NHTSA's Faces of Distracted Driving. And it's received more than 9.7 million views online. So with that, we're going to show the video.
I just remember sitting at home thinking to myself, it's like, I have no one. Like, my friends were there for me at first, but after a while, they weren't.
I looked up on her Facebook page, and she said on there, "Can anybody please hang out with me today? I don't have any friends."
Before the car accident, the things I did in high school with my friends were, just go to the high school games and everything. Every weekend go to a party, go bowling. I was a good student. I was a role model. I was like a preppy little girl in high school, so I used to model.
My main worry for Liz as a parent before she started driving was the typical teenage things, the drugs and the alcohol and, being safe and hanging around the right kind of kids and keeping her grades up. I did not think that Liz was connected to her mobile phone. I didn't realize that she loved her phone as much as she did.
I used my cell phone every second, every minute, every hour. Like, if I didn't have it, I would freak out because I couldn't connect with my friends. I couldn't connect with anyone. Couldn't connect with social media or anything. If I didn't have my cell phone, I felt lonely.
I would ask her all the time, "Liz, do you text and drive?" And she said, "No, Mom, I swear I don't. Don't worry, I don't use my phone when I'm behind the wheel."
I ignored these warnings about texting while driving because everyone else was doing it. So I thought it was okay. I thought I was invincible. But clearly, I was completely wrong.
I was getting ready for work, and then 12 hours later, I'm in ICU staring at my daughter, who's bald, and tubes running in and out of her body, and it's just overwhelming devastation over a stupid text.
The consequences of my life now after the car accident is the fact that I'm blind in one eye now. I cannot smell. I cannot hear that very good because a bone broke in half and covered my eardrum. I can't create tears because both my tear ducts got damaged, and I can't put my body to sleep naturally. I take medicine and go to sleep. The hardest part about my life after the car accident was the fact that I was alone. Everyone was away at college. I wasn't. I couldn't drive. I couldn't go to college. My friends were there for me at first, but after a while, they weren't. They got tired of me. They got tired of all my problems.
Don't text your loved ones when you know they're driving. It can change their lives forever.
If you get a text, don't look at it. It's not worth it.
I want to show you guys something. This is the actual phone that my daughter was looking down with and reading my text when she crashed into the back of that tow truck. This is the actual one. It's harmless. When it's used responsibly, it's harmless. When you use it behind the wheel, it is deadly. It destroys lives. This is the phone that I used to text my daughter with. I was in the kitchen and I was mad at Liz. She had spent the night at a friend's house. And house rules are when you spend the night somewhere, you have to come home, check in, like to see eye-to-eye contact. But the message she sent me was that she couldn't and make it back to work in time. So I was pissed. So I hit OK, send. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think sending that text, pushing this green button, would destroy my life, my daughter's life, forever. Never did I imagine that 2 hours later, after pushing this green button, that I would be standing in shock trauma, listening to a shock trauma surgeon tell me all of my daughter's injuries. And let me tell you, there were many. I remember him telling me the injuries, and there were so many that I started to zone out on him. And then he raised his voice and he said, "Miss Shaw," on a scale of 1 to 4, 4 being the worst, we are grading your daughter over 3. I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders at that very moment. You know, I didn't know that it was my text that destroyed my daughter's life until about 4 weeks later. I went to go and talk to the state trooper who had to come to my door and give me the horrible news about Liz. I wanted to tell him I was sorry. I wanted to let him know how Liz was doing, that she was, you know, in her brain rehab center and things were looking up. I can remember opening the door. There he was. And the first thing he said to me was, "Are you Liz Marks' mom?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said, "I'm sorry to inform you, but your daughter's been in a serious car accident." And I just remember screaming, "My God, is she alive? Is she alive?" And he said, "Yes, but it doesn't look good." And then he bowed his head. And I just lost it. I just lost it. I did not get a chance to meet that officer, but I did get a chance to meet the officer who was investigating Liz's car accident. And I asked him, "What do you think happened? What was she doing?" And he flat out told me she was texting and driving. And I was like, "What? How can that be?" And he said, "There were no brake marks. The position of the impact of her head was down. Her cell phone was in the driver's part of the bottom." He said evidence points to her using her phone and texting and driving. And back in 2012, they didn't confiscate the phones. I'm from the state of Maryland. They do now. That's the first thing they ask for when there's a car accident. Where's your phone? I had Liz's phone from the car accident. I had it by her nightstand, waiting for her to come home and use it again. So I ran home. I was pissed. I took this phone and I was scrolling through. I wanted to know who she was talking with. I wanted to know what was so important that it almost took her life. Who was she talking to? So I was scrolling. I found it. Last thing open, closed, whatever. And it was 10:51 a.m. The message was, "Okay." And it was from Mom. I can't describe the feeling that I was feeling at that moment, but I can tell you as the weeks and months went on, the guilt and the shame was sometimes overwhelming. When I speak, I like to share a story, something that has actually happened to me, something that I hope you remember when you leave here today. Liz was home from her brain rehab center. One of the injuries was a frontal lobe brain injury. She had to relearn how to walk, talk, read, write, you name it. She had to relearn everything. She was home for about 2 months. Her brain started kicking in. It was doing very well. And then she started remembering her life before the accident. And then she remembered things that she did before the accident. How she lied to me about texting and driving before the accident. And she was guilty. She felt guilty. She got so deeply depressed that she came up to me one night. It was 11 o'clock at night, and she said, "Stop watching me, Mom. I know you're watching me," which I did, because I was afraid she was going to hurt herself. I thought I could do it on my own. I didn't know much about mental health. But she said, "Stop watching me, Mom. I know you're watching me." She said, "I hate my life. I hate what I did to myself. I have no friends. I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want any more surgeries. Look at my face, Mom. I'm ugly. Turn your head. Leave me alone. And just let me die." Well, let me tell you, I took her to the first emergency room I could find. And from there, she was transported to a mental hospital, and they admitted her. They said she was a danger to herself. She had turned 18. I had no say in her care. She was admitted involuntarily. When I would go and see Liz at the mental hospital, I saw her every day, every visit you were allowed. And it was on the 4th day that we were walking to the exit doors, and there's always a nurse that escorts the patient because, you know, Liz was going to fly out of there if she could. So we were at the double doors, and the double doors were closing. We had given our hugs and kisses goodbye. The doors closed, and I hear Liz ask the nurse, "Can I give my mom one more hug goodbye?" And the nurse said no. She said, "I promise I'll be good. Can I give my mom a kiss goodbye?" And the nurse said no. And then the door shut between us. And I remember I put my ear on the door, and I heard Liz walking away crying. And I just stood there thinking, there's nothing I can do. My little girl wants a hug and kiss, and I can't give it to her. I'm not allowed. And then this cell phone rings. It was in my pocket. I pulled it out. Didn't answer it. All I remember saying to myself is, this phone has destroyed my life. It has destroyed my family's life, my daughter's life. Why did I text my 17-year-old kid? Why? Why was I so stupid and irresponsible with this phone? Why? When you leave today and you get in your car and your phone beeps or music goes or whatever, I want you to remember that story, my nightmare, and not pick up that phone. Using your cell phone when you're driving is dangerous, it's deadly, and it destroys lives. 3 Ds. Dangerous, deadly, destroys lives. Sorry. Now, I want to tell you about Liz. She is not here today because she's taking a break from speaking. We've been speaking now for about 2.5 years nationally. We've been on many TV shows. She's burnt out, to be quite honest with you. It's hard for a young teenager, young girl, and guys, to talk about their mistake. to have people stare at her face and ask questions and sometimes laugh. It's hard. So she's on a well-deserved break. But she has asked me to continue, which I am honored to do for her. I wear this color green, lime green, because this is the color that they spray painted Liz's car accident scene with. They thought she would be a fatality. It is a miracle that she lived. I wear Liz's green wristbands that say, "Don't text and drive for Liz Marks." She likes to hand these out to her students when we speak. We speak at businesses now a lot. She hands them out to the drivers of businesses, to the other employees, and she asks them to put this around your cell phone. Put this on your gear shift. Put it on your rearview mirror. She wants you to see the color. She wants that to be the first thing you see when you think to go and grab your phone when you're driving. And she hopes it stops you from making her mistake, texting and driving, using her cell phone behind the wheel. Excuse me. Liz, she's a good kid. She's a talker. Jennifer can tell you that. Jennifer Smith knows Liz very well. She has a beautiful spirit. Personally, Liz has a few more surgeries to go to repair her face. She decided that she didn't want to continue with the surgeries. She took about 3 years off, and now she's decided she wants to finish her reconstruction. The plastic surgeon, trauma surgeon said that's very common with brain injury, trauma injury patients. You get tired of having surgery. She's had 14 so far. She probably has 3 more to go. She now has a boyfriend. She has a part-time job. She's got her driver's license back. She's an excellent driver. Excellent driver. Of course, with her situation, you know, shame on her if she wasn't. She still talks one-on-one with people at schools and things like that, but not nationally. She said she just wanted to take a break. You know, we're lucky as a family that Liz will make a full recovery. We're lucky as a family that Liz did not kill or hurt someone else. Extremely lucky. You know, Liz and I are not against cell phones. We've upgraded big time from these. We are responsible with our cell phones now, and that's what we ask you to be, responsible with your cell phones. Do not drive distracted. Do not accept others in your family, your friends, your coworkers, to drive distracted. Driving distracted has become nationally a social acceptance habit. For example, you're driving down the road, you see a car swerving this way, that way. You go around them, they're swinging a beer, drinking. What would you do? I would pull over, 911. Same situation. There's a driver, they swerve here, they swerve there. You go around them, they're on their phone. What would you do? Nothing. It's socially acceptable, and it has to stop. I had a different ending for this, but I wanted to ask Mr. Myers to come up, wherever he is. Is he here? Just probably stand here with me. I want you guys to see us. I want you to see our faces. Take a look. We are the faces of distracted driving. It's not just our daughters. It's your family. It's your friends. When you drive distracted, you take everything, you put everything at risk. Everything. Driving distracted is a socially accepted habit, and it has to stop. And it starts with you. With you. With you. With you. Everyone here has the ability to stop this habit. When you come home tonight, I want you to remember this. What we've been through. He's been through so much more. I want you to gather your family together. Make a promise, your friends, that you will not drive distracted from this day forward. You will not accept your friends, your family, anyone that you know driving distracted. Together, we can turn this habit around and start to save lives. And Mr. Myers, you know, my heart and my soul, they hurt for you. You are such a brave man for sharing your story. You are brave to come here and try and save someone else's little girl. Thank you. And thank you for listening to me. And please, don't drive distracted. Thank you.
Thank you.